Hello everybody, welcome back to my movie review series. We've been taking off, we're up to 46 subscribers. Today we'll be discussing Ticket to Paradise movie review. Nice. Just got back from watching it. First time being in the movie theater, probably a couple months. Saw a rom-com, went to Dave & Buster's a little bit, played some arcade games, then I went to the theater. Went to Rave Motion Pictures, Polaris. The OG home theater. Home theater like that. But yeah, we have a romance comedy with some big names. We had George Clooney and Julia Roberts. They were certainly a power duo in the Ocean's movies, specifically Ocean's 11. Ocean's 12 was a little whack. Yeah, Ocean 13 got a little better. But overview. It was a romance comedy, hour and 44-minute runtime, rated PG-13. Come on, Goo, give me the overview. A divorced couple teams up and travels to Bali to stop their daughter from making the same mistake they think they made 25 years ago. Directed by Ole Parker. We got some mixed reviews. 85% of Google users like this movie, 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 55% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 86% on Fandango. Users like the movie. My overall impressions was the kind of the plot to me was very predictable. Again, I'm always critical of comedy and serious shows. Romance is proportional to comedy, so I like comedy and romance movies. But it just didn't really do much for me. I thought it was a kind of a predictable plot line, pretty much the whole plot development. Again, after I gave my overall grading impressions, I'll be doing the plot synopsis and character development as best I can remember and discussing major themes. So, in a pretty standard romantic comedy. The dynamic between Georgia Cotton and David Cotton, Julia Roberts, and George Clooney wasn't super convincing or entertaining to me. The romance wasn't super strong and the comedy wasn't super strong. So overall, I did chuckle a couple points. The romance was kind of cute a couple points. So this was really in the C range for me, but I'll give it a B- because I did chuckle once or twice. But overall, I just thought it was a rather predictable plot line. I don't think the jokes were too funny. Well, a couple of the lines, it's like, oh, that was supposed to be a joke, and the romance wasn't super convincing. And more so, even, I would say it's more on it's a romantic comedy, but most of the character development is just Georgia and David going back and forth about their insecurities in their relationship. Do I like insecurities and characterization? No. So, didn't really do much for me. Chuckled a couple times. Certainly wasn't off-putting. Could easily be in the C+ C range. Probably not C, but C+. But I'll give it a B-. It certainly wasn't a serious show that goes awry to me is unwatchable, and I can get into the F range where I get up and walk out. But I haven't had an F in a while. The last F I had, I think was, honestly, I forget. It was an animated movie. It was a kid's movie, but I can watch kids' movies as long as the writing's entertaining. I had to believe that one. It was just so much trash. Maybe it was not WALL-E. I can't remember. But the big buzzword in the movie was trash. I'm trash. I can't remember. Animated movie it was. So overall, B-. So if you have not watched the movie and would like to, again, big cast with George Clooney and Julia Roberts, but I gave it a B-. It was pretty blah to me. So if you have not watched the movie and would like to, shut off this video now. We will be discussing the plot synopsis and character development. So you start off, you meet Lily Cotton. She is we meet David and Georgia initially, and they're talking to different people in their professional lives. They're divorced. They had, they got married really young, and now they absolutely can't stand each other. And so, just the insecurity of that interaction is most of the development of the characterization. We have Lily Cotton. She graduates college, and at her graduation, she has a friend, Ren Butler, and probably, young 20s, 22, 23-year-old women, graduate college. They're going to go to Bali to celebrate their graduation. Lily is going to be a lawyer. After graduation, she's going to go to law school. Well, actually, they said that she's going to start at the top law firm after the vacation, so I don't know if she just got into the legal practice without going to law school or something. So that's a little, again, plot kind of writing could have been tighter there. But she's going to go on vacation and come back and be a lawyer somehow without going to law school. And so they graduate, they have the graduation ceremony. George and David are not supposed to be sitting next to each other. Again, Lily's on good terms with both of them. George and David can't stand each other. They end up sitting next to each other at the graduation ceremony, and when she walks across the stage, they're competing about who was the proudest of Lily's graduation. So she graduates, then she goes to Bali. So immediately in Bali, you get her and Ren go swimming, or they're on a boat, and then they come up from snorkeling or something, and the boat is no longer there, and then this hot guy named Gede, I think, again, I don't know what language Bali speaks, again, probably the bits and a couple phrases of Nepali is probably the closest geographically to Bali. That's probably Malaysia. Oh God, please don't be in the Caribbean. Oh God, where's Bali? But they get left by their fishing, or their, yeah, this has got to be, but yeah, Indonesia, Malaysia. I was gonna shoot myself if it was somewhere in the Caribbean. But yeah, I did not have any of that language at all. I'm not even sure what language they speak. Indonesian, probably. Oh, Bali, Indonesia, so Indonesian. But the Gede picks up Lily and Ren from swimming in the ocean, and immediately Lily and Gede are extremely in love. You know, love at first sight. They're staring into each other's eyes. They get like a flash forward screen that says, 37 days later. And so that's when, Georgia and David, Georgia's blocked David on email. Lily has written back to them saying that she's going to get married. And now they're going to fly to Bali to Trojan Horse in lockstep. They did say lockstep a lot in this movie. And again, I have a specific point of proof that says lockstep on my economics series. Bam, lockstep. People learn other people's behaviors. People apply phrases in languages, or phrasing of languages, to scenarios that make more sense. Man, I wonder if I had an influence on that. But they say lockstep a lot, and they're going to go Trojan Horse the marriage. Basically convince Lily that she doesn't want to get married and break it off with Gede. And so they travel to Bali. They get there. They're meted by the Gede has parents, obviously. They weren't listed on the cast list. Classic. But so they go there. The fathers meet. They kind of introduce each other. Georgia, they fly over there on the flight. They're trying to sit away from each other, end up sitting right next to each other. David is acting like he speaks Italian to another woman, and Georgia gets on there and is like, talks to him in English, and the other chick's like, wow, you do speak English. And so she sits in between the two, so they have some space, and they have some turbulence. And Georgia is dating, her new boyfriend is Paul. He's a Frenchman. He is I believe he's the pilot, but I don't think he's like the stewardess, but he's on the plane as well. And so they're just kind of casual. Georgia and David, they hate each other. David seems to be pretty cool with dating. The grown adults now like pent up about not being together. But they land in Bali, do some formalities, meeting the family. They have like 150, huge family. Gede has a huge family. And so they're going to prepare this ceremony. Sorry, I'm looking at a big spider outside my window. But they're going to prepare this big ceremony for the two to exchange rings, and they have some cultural traditions of marriage. And exchanging rings isn't like the actual ceremony of marriage. And so Georgia decides to steal. She takes the rings and hides them in her purse. And so Gede picks up on that David and Georgia are kind of trying to sabotage it, outwardly at the initial meetings. They're like, yep, we support and give the blessing to this marriage, but really they're just trying to talk sense into Lily. And so she takes the rings, and Gede is aware of it. Next, they go out on a boat. They go swimming with dolphins a bit. David gets bitten by a dolphin. The next day, they help out. Gede's trade as he farms seaweed. And so much more of the, be in tune with the land, give back to Mother Earth, they'll give back to you type of culture, at least portrayed in the movie. And David and Georgia the next morning help out, like playing or picking the seaweed. They start getting a little flirtatious and competitive. And Lily's like, oh, this is getting weird. But that night, they have a little celebration. David kind of calls out, or Gede kind of calls out David, saying he knows he has the rings, and David just kind of plays it like, no, we don't. And so they have another party at night. They play beer pong. Georgia and David, they all get pretty wasted. Gede throws up. Georgia and David definitely get pretty litty titties, and they end up boinking. They do the big boinkies, and the next day Paul shows up to surprise Georgia in Bali. And so they have to scurry around, hide. Uh-oh, wrong room. Oh, Paul says, Georgia, why are you in David's room? Oh, no, this is my room. We switched rooms. They have to shuffle around the cases, the suitcases and the clothes to make it look like they weren't boinking. They were boinking. And so after the next day, they go to another. They go to like this land, this island of cursed snakes or something. Paul proposes to Georgia, and right as he's proposing, he gets bit by a poisonous snake. Georgia has to suck the poison out. Jason, that's a major theme. Is that actually how you do that? Like if someone gets bit by a snake, I've heard that for sure, but I don't know if that's one of those things that's just not true. Like, are you actually supposed to suck out the venom of a snake? Is that helpful? I think that's actually kind of valid science. You should Google it. Don't take that as a recommendation. Or not a recommendation, I don't know. But that's definitely in the movie. And so Paul's a little woozy, and Georgia gets saved by the snake bite. Doesn't have to answer the proposal request. And so at the same time, or maybe a different time, they have one of the excursion day with the family. They go. It might have been no, because they would have gotten to the hospital with Paul. But they go on another boat ride. Gay has a boat. David's supposed to tie the boat up somewhere. He ties it to a log, and then you can see the boat floating out with the log tied to it. So they're stuck overnight on an island away from the civilization for one night. Georgia and David kind of, reconnect a little bit, bond a little bit. The next morning they make out a little bit, and they're like, oh no, we're not getting back together. So at that time, that's when they're trying to start a fire. It's raining, they're stuck on the island. That's when Lily finds the rings in Georgia's purse. So Lily's kind of upset with Georgia about stealing the rings, and with Gay Day, substantially less so with Gay Day for just not telling her about it. But they kind of have a little tiff running there. And so they get back to the island, and basically Lily says, I'm getting married, you guys can support me if you want to or not. And so Paul re-proposes to Georgia, and Georgia says no. Paul says he's still going to go paddleboarding. Basically, he proposed, got saved by the snake bite the next morning, or whenever he gets out of the hospital, wakes up next to Georgia, and it's like, we're going to we can go paddleboarding today. And then he proposes again, and then she says no, and then he says, I'm still going to go paddleboarding. That scene got me a little chuckle. That was one of the little chuckles. But so Georgia says no to Paul, breaks up with him, and Georgia and David end up truly supporting Lily and Gay Day's marriage. They go to the ceremony. They dance, toe tap, foot touches, toe taps in soccer on some coconuts. The ring bearers, or the little cousins of the family, tie string around them, and I think the actual bond of marriage is when they have just a sheet of skin, like a leather, or just some sheet of something, and then they stab a sword through it. And so right before Gay Day goes to stab the thing, he's like, wait, I can't do this until I have the full, absolute, and for real blessing from Georgia and David, which they end up giving. So now they have a wonderful union of marriage between Gay Day and Lily, and they stab the thing, and now they're married. And so the family's going to pack up. Another kind of little, I don't know if Ren was supposed to be there the entire time, but it's kind of weird, I don't know if it was a 2-month trip. They didn't say exactly how long the trip was, but it's I remember watching the movie, why is Ren still there 40 days later? So maybe it was just a long vacation. But she's there the whole time, and so they're all packing up to go back home, go back to their lives. And Georgia and David, they're they were, the kind of playful, hateful exes, and then they blinked the one time, and then they reconnected on the rock after being stuck on the island, and now they're kind of, Georgia tells David that she cut it off with Paul, and they're kind of we could, why wait tomorrow to have what we could do today? Georgia says that in a way where it's we can get back together. And they had a house that burned down, which was minor plot development of not real, the real reason they broke up, but it was their big homestead, or their big trophy or pinnacle for their marriage, or having the dream house type of deal that got burned down. And they decide they're going to stay in this beautiful place together. They run off the back of the boat and jump together. They go back with Lily and Gay Day. And so, again, at that point, I was just like, maybe Lily and Gay, like, parents are gonna come live with us. Maybe not. But again, the big family, cultural family, or big families in the culture. So probably would go all right. But that's really the end of the movie. So again, just not super convincing. Again, a lot of the character development is just the insecurity between Georgia and David, which again, for rom-com, romantic comedy, could go either way. Well, it certainly wasn't off-putting, but it was just like, I'd rather see the cute, fun stuff of the relationship, the romance, or like the comedy aspects being more so of just like funny events happening with family, not trying to sabotage a relationship and the right way to live a marriage. Because again, marriage is just a bond of respect. Hey, do you like being around me? Yep. Do you like being around me? Yep. You have the same? Are you at the same place maturity wise and family and goals and all that? Yep. Okay. Cool beans. And so, I don't know, major themes, again, getting married young. I always kind of thought, I really remember saying, like, I could know if I would marry somebody within like a 15-minute conversation. More so again, because I'm mature. Like, I don't need to find myself. I don't need to work on my career. I don't have these goals. I want a family. I want a wife. So it's like, it's clear as to what the fuck I want in the world. So, again, young marriages, again, it really is do they last long? Is it a mistake to get married young? It's really just reflective of the insecurity and maturity of the two people. And so if you're mature at a young age is just a number. If you're mature and you're 19, 20 getting married, it's going to be no difference than if you're mature and 35 getting married. And conversely, if you're insecure getting married at 18, 19, 20, is going to be no different than if you're insecure getting married at 35 or 40. So really just reflective of maturity of the two people. So anything else? Again, sabotaging weddings, dating. If I was ever lucky enough to have a family, I would again not be protective of a daughter. Again, just be respectful, know yourself, know your boundaries, do whatever the fuck you want. Have a nice day, have fun, be safe. And so, another little funny part is when they are going to pack up to leave. Ren, as a joke, hands Lily all just like a huge box of condoms, and after Ren says goodbye to Lily, David, the father's going to say goodbye to Lily, and Gady just like throws away the condoms, like like in a comedic way. It's like the father clearly sees him, just like, oh fuck. So that's another little funny scene. But again, overall, the comedy wasn't super convincing. The romance wasn't super convincing. Certainly not off-putting. Didn't do a lot for me. Major themes, again, all their cultures, marriage, protective parents, and so the plot development was very very predictable. From reading the things, like they're gonna go there, try to stop her, and then reconnect it and realize they're doing the wrong thing, and that's exactly what happened. So, which again, if it's super predictable but still funny and entertaining, we'd get a better grade, but B-. I think it could have been a lot better. So, still on the hunt for a good romantic comedy. Haven't seen one in a while. Certainly a genre I like. So, thank you for watching my movie review of Ticket to Paradise. See you on the next one.